10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Is it a banger?
Hell yeah.
Classes in session, this is the show where knowledge is profit, just so you know. Army Piper, OC guy, and Trade Fly, bringing crypto news to the whole alumni. It's the word on the market, the one-stop shop for the info you'll need every time that it drops. The go-to show that you need right now. This is Piper Academy, it's all going down, let's go.
Yo, it is Friday, everybody. Welcome to the Morning Market Report. We got PCE data that came out this morning. Going to be looking at that. And also, we'll wrap it up at the end of the month. What can we expect in September? Typically, it's a red month. Are we going to see that this time around? We're going to be looking at some data. I got a couple of articles that you guys need to know about. And then also, we're going to get into some TA. You know we're going to do some TA, guys. It's time. Class in session. Let's get it. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Morning Market Report here at Piper Academy. I am Army Piper, and I am joined here by my co-host every single day. Well, not every day. Trade Flies has to work his fiat mining sometimes, but OC is always here with me, loyal love till the end. Trade Fly loyal until he's got to go to work because his boss said so. Trade Fly OC, what is up, fellas? How you guys doing?
What is going on, man? It is always good to be here on a Friday. And yeah, you're right. Duty does call, all right? It's not a boss. It is you guys, all right? Whether you know it or not. You guys are calling me to work, and I do my part. And you know what? I enjoy doing both. So love doing this, and really, really happy to be here. Crypto Nightcap, actually, we did pretty well last night. Numbers are trending in the right direction, so pretty happy about that. Come check us out. And yeah, let's get this party started, man.
And
I'm ready.
You need to get those numbers up.
I gotta pump those numbers up. Those are rookie numbers in this racket.
That ain't right. Hey, I got a rebuttal.
The cream of the crop. Nobody does it better.
That's right, baby.
I love it.
That's right.
I love it, bro. So yeah, let's get into the data today. We got not a whole lot, but I want to talk more today about what the sentiment is like going into September. We're at the end of the month. We're going to have this monthly close. We're going to have a weekly close. And then, we're going to be looking at September. And everybody's going, historically, we got that one chart. We're going to be looking at that chart. It says, hey, September's historically bad. But, I get people in the chat that come back and they shoot back with, well, Bitcoin hasn't been around that long. There's not that much history there, or they, what about election years? Or what about rate cuts? So we're going to talk about all that because there's a lot to unravel on this whole thing. And I just don't want people to get trapped, but I also don't want people to stress and worry. So Friday, we're going to try to chill you all out. That's what we're going to try to do today. So let's get into and sorry, I apologize. I will try to mute my microphone every time but I have been out here in the dust of Arizona, and it's gotten to me. It's gotten me. So
I feel like I'm infecting everyone through the microphone.
You are.
FD was coughing
You got
yesterday.
FD White last night. You got
coughing.
Me now.
Yeah. OC, you're next, bro. You're next, man. You're on my hit list.
Someone lied. Put a filter on your microphone and you'll be okay. So.
Yeah, you need a pop filter, bro.
But yeah,
I'm gonna put a mask on the microphone, right?
Yeah, put a mask on the mic. I love it. Let's get into the news that we have today, guys, and let's talk about that stuff first. Looking at the Fear and Greed Index. We are sitting here currently at 34, still sitting in fear. Market cap sitting at 2.1%, down 1.28%. Guys, I remember not very long ago that Crux and I, and shout out to Crux, I see him in the chat there. Crux and I were sitting on the phone and talking, and he's like, is the market cap at 2 trillion yet? And this was like 2 weeks ago, and it wasn't at 2 trillion. It was just under. So in comparison, guys, what does that tell me? Sideways range. That's what we're seeing right now. Bitcoin dominance is continuing to the upside. I believe that by the end of September or sometime in September, we actually do see Bitcoin dominance hit about 60%, and then that's where it caps out at. So is there no audio? Someone said audio. Is there an issue with the audio?
Nah, you're good on my end.
Okay, Arsan. No, audio's good. Can someone let him know that in the chat? I do think that we'll see Bitcoin dominance Bitcoin dominance hit 60% this cycle. Let's jump over here to crypto bubbles and see how we're looking here. On the crypto bubbles for the daily, we're seeing a lot of red here, guys. And this was, PCE data came out this morning, was not bad. It wasn't good. It wasn't great, but it wasn't bad. We're seeing Dog down 9.1, Popcat, FD White's favorite, down 10.4% there. I'm hoping he shorted that. He probably did because he's a master of Popcat. Floki is down 17.4%. Fetch AI down 9.8%. TIA down 6.8%. So a lot of big movers to the downside here. We can see Bitcoin is down 1.4% on the daily. Ethereum is down 1.8% on the daily, but it is in the past hour has leveled out to a 0% change. So any big movers on here? Let's just go down through. Go down. No, like there's nothing that moved big time to the upside at all in the top 50. Biggest movers to the downside, Fetch AI, down pretty bad there, and then Near Protocol 7.1% to the downside. So, guys, not looking too strong here on this daily. So,
one thing I did notice yesterday is that Bitcoin dominance did go up.
Yeah, and it did today too. That's what I was just talking about there. That I think
Yeah.
we're going to see a 60% come in for sure.
So
yeah.
it seems like Bitcoin is holding the range pretty well during the kind of turmoil. Data is kind of all over the place, and then the alts are taking the hit. So people are kind of rotating into the safer asset right now, while news and data is coming in.
Yeah, that's for sure. And so FD White did say this is scalp season. He's scalping right now. So let's jump over and get more in here on this news. Get through this so we can get into some charts today and some conversations, man. I'm gonna hang out and chill with my peeps today. In the past 24 hours, 43,505 traders were liquidated. Total liquidations coming in at $118 million. Largest single liquidation order happened on BitMEX. It was XBT. It was for a value of $10 million. So if you got $10 million to throw away, why not on XBT on a Friday? I'm just saying. Looking here at this core PCE data, guys, and this is the data that came in that, we've been waiting on all week. This is the single biggest thing that the Federal Reserve looks at besides overall labor market and job numbers, right? So core PCE this morning was expected on consensus and forecast to be 0.2%. Previously at 0.2%. Guess what? 0.2%. That's what it was. Personal income, though, they expected it to be 0.2% on consensus and on the forecast. Actually came in a little bit higher. So this number says a little bit more personal income is growing out there. I call cap. I think we're going to have a revision on that probably. And it says, nope, they were actually lower. Personal spending now, guys, look at this one. The forecast was 0.2%. Now the consensus, they had it right, but forecast, they were a little bit low, 0.3% lower actually, came in at 0.5%, meaning personal spending. Now I want to jump over here. Let me see if there's anything at the price index. 2.5% was expected to be new. Yeah, so it was neutral. Okay, let's jump over here and talk about this. You guys remember yesterday when I was talking about the numbers, and let me make sure that I get the one that it was. Let me see. This week, there was a number that GDP. It was a GDP, and I told you guys, hey, look, this GDP actually says consumer spending is up. Do you guys remember that? So the big thing that I am seeing on that is that we had that data come in higher on consumer spending, and then we're also seeing that spending today that was also coming in with a higher report, personal spending, right? Just to refresh your memory, personal spending right there. And then that GDP yesterday being consumer spending. What happens when people are buying stuff and there's still an issue with, it's supply and inflation? What typically happens on that trade fly?
Man, I was wrapped up in the chat, man. I was
Well, let me
I'll
answer
replying
it for
to
you.
username. He said I might be Batman, always in the dark and hates plants. So he got me.
You might be.
All right.
Here, I'll answer the question for you. If you normally
right,
have,
Professor.
if you have
All
personal spending month over month going up, and consumer spending on the GDP goes up, that typically means that there might be a threat to a return of inflation because demand is going up, right? So Be careful, guys. I'm seeing these little telltale pieces of data that by themselves don't mean anything. But when you see personal spending up and GDP consumer spending up, then you start to see these little things stack. Remember, it only takes little tiny stacks of something to become something bigger. So,
A return of inflation? Did inflation ever go away? I'm asking for a friend.
well, don't you know we're down at 2.9%, bro?
Yeah, that's
Bidenomics for the
lies.
win,
It's lies. We all know that's lies. It's not true.
bro.
My
Bro,
grocery bill's the same.
Bro, I have so much money in the bank right now because I've saved so much at the cash register every time I buy dinner, man. I'm living.
Yeah.
I'm living in the
Also
world
lies. More lies. That's what I hear. More
Okay.
lies.
Okay. Maybe so. It is all lies. Let's jump over and check out the CME futures and see how this data is now translating. Let me give it a refresh here. If you guys don't know, the CME Fed Watch Group here, they do the predictions on the rate cuts and what the percentage will be. As of right now, we're looking at a 30.5% likelihood of 50 basis points, but we're leaning really heavy over here towards 69.5% chance of 25 basis points. It's anyone's call at this point. I can see reasons for either of them to be done, a 50 basis point or a 25 basis point, but 100% I do believe we need to see rate cuts happen in September. If not, we're going to hurt the economy, and they're not going to be able to react in time for the next rate cut, because the next rate cut, guys, is going to be in November. So we skip an entire month there. They would have to do an emergency meeting, which would freak out people. So yeah, we're absolutely looking at this. I think that we will see 25 basis points, though, not 50 basis points. So let's jump over here. Take a look at what we're seeing here. That is Bitcoin inflows. Yeah, I want you guys to see about this here. This is interesting data. This is according to Quentin 048.eth. He said BlackRock experiences its second day of outflows ever. Sold 228 Bitcoin yesterday. Yikes. So interesting info there. Let's go ahead. Let's bring this over to this one so that if you guys want to comment, we can comment in here. Nope, that's the wrong one. There we go. Yeah, so yeah, what do you think about that, guys? Second day of outflows ever yesterday on Bitcoin for BlackRock. So
Interesting. But I'm not like super scared. There's gonna have to be some days of outflows. You can't have inflows every day forever.
yeah, but
Kind of like price going up.
the narrative has been, guys, BlackRock is still buying. Yes, they are still buying.
Yeah, but it
But
correlates
yesterday
to
they
people buying
sold.
ETFs.
Yesterday they sold. So
But
keep
it's
that in mind.
spot. It's spot. So it correlates to people buying ETFs. So if there's a less interest or less demand, then that's they kind of have to.
Well, here, I'll show you some demand. Are you ready? There you go. There's some demand for you. Wells Fargo. Wells Fargo is preparing its wealth advisors to actively pitch Bitcoin ETFs to their clients. Starting in September, they manage $1.7 trillion in assets. So there's a little bit of bullishness for you there.
Yeah.
Yep. And then
I mean, it
lastly,
is, but that narrative was out there last month too.
yeah, it was.
I
It
mean,
was.
yeah, everyone's gonna start pitching Bitcoin. It's cool.
But
I mean,
the more that do it, the more momentum that ETFs can gain. So there
I
you
would
go.
like to see what they start doing with the funds, though, right? There's one thing to pitch it, but there's another thing to start incorporating it into their strategies, right? So when you're saying, hey, because think about when you talk to a financial advisor, if you ever talk to one, what do they do first? Hey, man, what's your risk tolerance? Are you aggressive? Are you conservative? Like, where do you sit? And they put you in like 5 different tiers. And like, I just like, yo, full bore, aggressive growth, baby. Sign me up for that. All right. Because statistically, your returns over a longer period of time are better. So just go all in if you have a long time to accumulate. But
Absolutely.
are they going to start putting Bitcoin ETFs into those strategies? That's the question. You
That
start
is the
putting
big
Bitcoin
question.
ETFs into those strategies or those funds. Yes, that is truly bullish.
Are they going to
Then
put
I'm in.
Are they going to put the investment recommendation portfolio up there for everybody, and someone has to go, what is that back there on the back of your table? Oh, that's the Bitcoin ETF. Yeah, can I see that? Let's just focus on this for now, right?
Yeah, but like think about that, right? If it's just like, all right, here we have Apple, Google, Amazon, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and then you see those kind of listed out in the strategy, like, all right, yeah, that's bullish. So
for sure, absolutely. And shout out to everybody that's just joining us right now. If you guys are new here, go ahead and hit that like, hit that subscribe. Welcome to the morning market report. Looking here, let's get into this one. TradeFly and OC. I'd like to know where's everybody at on this, because this is a pretty interesting updated wealth pyramid for Bitcoin. The top 0.1% have more than 21 Bitcoin. The top 1% of Bitcoiners have greater than 3.5 Bitcoin. And then the top 5% have greater than 0.133 Bitcoin. So where do you stand on that hierarchy? Guys, let me know. Let me know in the chat if you are a shrimp, a crab, or where are you at on this list? Just put here one. Look, if you're in the top 5%, hit. If not on this list, put a 1. If you're on this list, put 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. I'd like to know where everybody's at on this list. Just let us know. Let us know, because this list, if you remember right, there was a time where the top 1% was like, this was the top 1%. The top 1% had less than that. It wasn't that much. So now the top 1% have 3.5 Bitcoin. A lot of accumulation there. And then I think that is it. No, there's one more thing. Let's get over here. So I want to talk about this chart. And this chart is like the point of a lot of contention in the crypto space, because September typically has these reds. And, we've seen people come in and say, what about, you can't read it. Oh,
that's a personal problem.
It says that
username.
right. Arsan said it makes him a 5. I love it. Looking here, September, we typically have the red months, right? Now we do have people that come back and they say, what about the election years? Well, here's an election year, 2016, it was green. So there you go. But 2020, it was red. 2020 was also COVID lockdowns and COVID-19. So historically, if you go off of this, there's not a lot of data. We have 2 years of elections overlapping Septembers. Overall, we have about 13 years here to look at Septembers. So fair enough, we can look at this and say, yes, most of Septembers have been red, but in the grand scheme of things, we don't have a lot of data here to support that we're going to be red. So CNBC Pro, I get the Pro package here, and there's some articles that don't exist elsewhere that was pretty interesting this morning that I want to share with you guys. With August about to wrap, Wall Street heads into a historically tough month. And this was just put out this morning, 9:18 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So not long ago, right before the show. The stock market did a remarkable job recovering from an early August sell-off. Carrying that momentum into September could be difficult, though. However, if history is any guide, data from the Stocks Traders Almanac shows September has been the worst month for the S&P since 1950. And that time, the broad market index has averaged a 0.7% loss every September. Over the past 10 years, it's actually been even higher than that. That performance over the past 10 years has been even worse, losing about 2.3% for the month. Just to remind you, average over here for Bitcoin is negative 4.78 for the average, 5.58 for the median. So even the S&P over the past 50 years, or since 1950, so the past 74 years has seen an average of a 0.7% loss, negative 0.7, and then looking at it from the past 10 years alone, negative 2.3. So yeah, we can look at that data from the Bitcoin chart and decide, yes, there's not enough data there, plus, election years, plus, whatever. All of that stuff. I have said since August 1st, I believe we're going to have a red August. That has played out. And I also believe that we're going to have a red September. October, November is the first time to be looking at everything and going, this is where we need to see movement. And if we do see those movements in October, November, then we're still on track. But as of right now, nothing has changed, and we're going to show you that on the charts in a minute. We are just in that boring range. I would love to come on here and, pump it up. Just get it going. I would love that. That's what I'm saying. I would love to come on and do that, but we're going to have a party today, whether you like it or not, at the end of the show. I promise. But the numbers don't lie. And 74 years of data, if that's not enough to convince you that we might have a red September, I just want people to be prepared. We don't predict, as FD White says. We don't predict. What do? We prepare. So that's what we're doing. Tradefly, OC. Let's hear from OC first. OC, what do you think? You know, a lot of people talk about that Bitcoin chart, and they're like, "There's not enough data there. What about election?" Like all the stuff we just talked about. But here's an article talking about 74 years of red September averages. Are we going to see that? What does September look like? We're at the end of the month, and what can we expect going into next week over the next month?
Well, I mean, I would say that at this point, that seems like we might be bouncing to the upside. We're still within a hard place. I think we're going to be seeing a little bit more downside. We do expect, not quite there yet out of the blue. You did mention, and we looked at, it is not only crypto, it is a macro charts. It is just traditional markets that are not yet there ready for that pump. So at this point, we need to understand that cryptocurrencies are not that important in the grand scheme of things at this moment. I mean, for me, they are my world, but despite that, they are my world for me. It doesn't mean that makes them that much more important, right? But yeah, just to answer your question, I think we have a little more red to go on. Maybe a little bit of hope with a little fake out to the upside, but I do expect a little bit more blood to be spilled. Nothing that serious. I don't expect us to fall behind or below 54,000.
Yep. That's I actually have I think about 49K. I'll show you that on the chart. That's my low target that I'm shooting at. That's the lowest that I'm shooting at. I know I had a lower number. I'll explain it
That would
all.
be scary.
I'll explain it all. But Tradefly, your thoughts on this? Let's talk about it. Like, what can we expect in September, in your opinion? Is the chart and that CNBC Pro newspaper article going to be just proven wrong? In September, we take off, moonshot, and hopium and crypto bros and Lambos, and I'm just saying. What are we looking at?
Yeah, win golf cart, bro. That's
Win
if you
golf
guys don't
cart.
know.
That's right.
That's what the content creators talk about. We don't talk about Lambos. We say win golf cart, and
Yes, sir.
I'm getting close, just so you guys know. With that being said, hey, the data's the data, and history tends to repeat itself. And you're taking a lot of data from TradFi as well, right? And kind of incorporating it because there is a correlation between the two. And so I think that kind of builds to our analysis. So I would lean towards a kind of weak September. I'm not gonna say it's like the bottom's gonna drop out, because we have a really, really important horizontal support level that I'm looking at, and I'll show you guys on the chart. If you're not new here, you know what I'm talking about already, because I have a channel that kind of goes up and right. So I think that's a really important level. Could we pull back a little bit? Could we have some consolidation and just maybe ranging through September? Absolutely. I would hate to get under a very specific level, and again, we'll look at that. But that being said, who's ready for Pumptober? Because
That's what I'm ready for.
September.
That's what I'm
Don't get scared
for.
out. Don't get. Hey, so this is the deal, right? September, right? You're gonna feel like, oh, I'm getting shook out, or you're getting a little nervous because you might have a red month. September would actually historically be the time to buy, right? So keep that in mind. I'm not saying, hey, go.
Let it get low, bro. Let it get low. I don't care.
So, I'm not saying, hey, go take all your dry powder and just TradFi said buy in September. But if you get to a nice level of support and you're finding support in a critical range, which we can look at on the charts, it might be an opportunity to add to the bags. That's what I'll say, because historically, you can look at the last couple months as being green, and then you'll see a little bit of a sell-off. This is my observation. A little bit of a sell-off going into the end of the year, and I think that's when a lot of people are playing the tax game, right? They're trying to do a little
Very
tax harvesting, we'll say. And that'll be a nice little shill for our dude Ernest at Decrypted Tax. Go ahead and check him out.
You should. Absolutely. It's a great shield for that. Let's go
Nice tie-in.
and what's that?
I said that was a nice tie-in. I know.
It was a beautiful tie-in. Let's go take a look at the charts, and let's look at Bitcoin. Let's start getting into this, but I do want to start off with the heat map here on the stock side, guys. Stock market getting a little rally this morning. The futures actually pumped up a little bit on PCE. We're not seeing much happening at all on crypto. Silver and gold taking a little fallback, but I do have something I'm going to show on gold here in a little while too, because my boy sent me a video. OC guy did, so we're gonna take a look at that. But yeah, go Nvidia up 2.52% here. Interesting number here. Interesting little analysis. Typically, before earnings reports and after earnings reports on Nvidia, the day prior it does on average a 4% pump to the upside. The day following, a 4% fall decrease in to the downside. And then rallies to a new high. Interesting that we had about a 6% pump on the day prior, and then about a 6.7% fall to the downside the day after the earnings. And now we're on the upside. So interesting. I just wanted to bring it back over here and talk about that. So up 2.77% today. Just see here. What else we got going? Microsoft, Google, tech all seems to be doing a little decent rally today on that news. And then let's get over to Bitcoin. So yesterday we had talked about the not the dominance, the CME gap. That's the word. Line, please. Thank you. I said, guys, watch for this box. You guys can go back and check it. My receipts are good. That is where I said to watch for us to get up to, and that's exactly what we did yesterday. Right there in the morning, right after the show, we got up there. So it pumped up there and then dumped. So we closed the gap. This gap is now finished. You guys could have gotten in on that trade if you had wanted to, because it was put out in plenty of time before it actually got there. So looking at what we're seeing here on Bitcoin now, does look like we're getting a little bit of a move to the upside here, but we've got some critical resistance sitting above us. One thing is this orange line right here. This is a 200-day EMA. This box right here that is turned red, that is the quantum reactor, and it is also our resistance level. You see resistance here. We had a little pump up, got rejected on the dynamic reactor from Chart Prime, and then back down, and now we're up underneath that again. Guys, you guys can get all these indicators that play these levels out perfectly over and over and over again. All in the link below, and get the best discount on the market using the link that we have here on the show. Nobody else has a discount that big. So I am watching here closely for us to get to hold the 0.66. This is my Fibonacci level here, and we're at the golden pocket, $59,000. I'm not going to dig into this too much because it's really just boring sideways action, guys. Two most important charts that I'm watching right now is this. One, we're in my range box still. As long as we keep closing candles above the 887, if I said it once, I've said it 1,000 times. This is the range that we are in, and I've called this since back here on March 11th of this year that would be the levels to watch. In the 887, I actually knew that was the case back in November of 2022. Yes, that's almost 2 years ago that I said this would be the bottoming level. Why? Because I pulled my fibs from here to here for my phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. You guys had 2 years to prepare for this. Like we've talked about this through and through and through on this show. So the other thing that I am watching here is this right here. This is the Piper Sniper kit coming soon to a link near you. And what I'm looking at it on is the daily here for target lock and target hold. If I see this turn a target hold into the red and a target lock into the red, that means we've got confirmed downside. As of right now, we're still sitting on everything except for Ethereum is still sitting on a target hold to the upside. Tron still even showing, and Nvidia still even showing that we got a target lock. You could take that as a trade on any pullback that you wanted right now because they're still moving to the upside. And then, of course, I'm looking here at the kill box. These are auto printed fibs that I am testing them right now, and they are sick. So this is the new Piper Sniper kit. As soon as I get it out of development and get it back to the team, it's going to be available to you guys. And as long as I see this green down here, I'm going to be all about looking for upside movement. Eventually, I'm not worried until I see these turn red. So let's kick it over to TradeFly. I know he's got that heat map up, and let's see what he's seeing on there. And let's go into, oh, yep, there it is.
Yeah, sorry, you had me. I was looking at the Piper Sniper, dude. I was just like enamored. All right, so over to the
It's
liquidation.
dope. It's dope, bro.
Yeah, yeah, it looks pretty cool. Liquidation heat map on the 3-month. So we're taking a little bit of a zoomed out look at it first, and you can see the hot spot. The hot spot on the map is actually to the upside on the 3-month. All right, so remember, we were talking about 50K for a really long time, and there was a lot of liquidity sitting there. Well, now you can see the liquidity is building up to the top side. So that means that people are in leverage positions where they have stop losses somewhere around 70,000.5, we'll say 70,500. That's really where it starts to build up, just over this last area where we found resistance right here. So now we got to look at the trend. And when you look at this trend of the price action, what would your analysis be just from here to here? It looks like it's starting to work its way back up, right? So that's one of the things that I look for in price action when I'm saying, hey, we have the potential to go down and reach this liquidity or go up and get this liquidity, right? Now we're starting to see where the price action is starting to work its way up. I would say it's in play, right? And remember how long it took for 50K to play out. It was a long time, okay? But we were adamant that we were going to go up and clear out that liquidity. This is where it's sitting. Let's go in the 6-month. I just want to zoom out a little bit more just to be like, all right, well, let's see if there's any liquidity to the downside. And no, look how dark it is down here. So one of the things I talk about as well is like when you get beaten into submission, right? When there's just no more liquidity for the maker to grab, which is kind of what it's looking like right now. They came out, they cleared out the hot spot here at 50. This was just glowing for months. Now it's starting to glow up to the top. So keep that in mind. This is more of a long-term thing. Maybe that Pumptober really actually happens because it might be time to come up and grab some of this liquidity. So you even have liquidity over the all-time high. So let that sink in. All right, so that's there. We'll come down to a shorter time frame, see what we got. Alligator close to the boat. And look at that. Hot. Up at about 61,300, 61,200. In that range, you do have some liquidity and you are finding support here. So I would say if price action or if liquidity was going to drive price action right now, I would say this would be the more logical conclusion, would be at about 61,200, 61,300. And that's what I'm looking at on the liquidity. So where does that tie in on the charts, So 61,200, let's go look at that. Let's see, 61,2. It's really close to the price action. You're actually underneath of a horizontal level of resistance. So that's well within play. You're just getting over the value area low, which is definitely it's going to be a little bit of a struggle, and we'll get on the daily and the 4-hour and kind of take a look at that. The reason I have the weekly up, because I've been talking about this a little bit, is we are in a descending broadening wedge as well as it looks like a bull flag, honestly. But one of the things that I said was very important when we're talking about having support and holding support through September is this channel right here. You can see it goes all the way back to 2021. I think it goes all the way back to 2020. Yeah. So this channel goes all the way back, years in the make. That would kind of be your next level of support. And now you're talking about 45 to about 48K is in play, And so I would not like to see that, but it would keep you in this descending broadening wedge potentially as well. So talk about confluence. It's all sitting right there, but I would love to see this channel remain, right? Because that gives you that trend of continuing up and right. Let's come down to a smaller time frame and take a look-see at that and see what's kind of lining up here when we're talking about the value area low. Charts for probably to this point, me and FD have kind of been tracking. What we had was an ascending triangle, right? So you had that horizontal level of resistance. You had the trend line that's going up and right, maintaining support. Ultimately, we broke through, right? So I was looking at this trend line as like, hey, like once it breaks through, don't take it off the chart. Don't take it off, because what was support has now been resistance. All right, you'll see that all the time with trend lines and horizontal levels of support and resistance, that they'll flip, and this has flipped. All right, and you have the dynamic reactor on the top side. You have the value area low on the top side. So you have a lot of resistance here. I've talked about this a couple times. This between here and here is an absolute no-go for me. All right, it's my no-no zone. That's patent it. All right, right here, don't trade this zone right here, because you just don't know what's going to happen. You got to be very, very careful. but odds are you're going to find resistance. But what I'm seeing right now is we're constantly retesting, and we're starting to get a little bit of a trend up and right with price action. So we're continuing to retest this area. Now you come down to the oscillators, and you're like, all right, what do the oscillators tell me? You're seeing money flow start to level out. You're seeing the RSI, or the main indicator on the prime oscillator, start to work its way up. Right, it's building strength. Everything is starting to level out here. You already got your oversold. You already got your reversal, right? So it looks like it wants to try to break, but it's going to be tough, but that's what it looks like it wants to do. So for me, what I'm looking at is there's two things here. You can try to go to a lower time frame and take a scalp opportunity at the value area low, which I would not advise, to be honest with you. But what you would like to see is it break through this area. So right here, I think, is a key area at about 61.8. You want to see a break, and then you want to look for that continuation to the upside. So we've already tried it once, but it's a pretty extended trend up and right. We had a great move up and right. So I'm going to put a bit of retracement on this. I just want to see how that played out. Let's go from here to here. Boom. All right. So yeah, that came down to about the 0.382. So that makes sense. So just looking at that, again, we're in a range, to be honest with you. And like, this is, for me, like, you can try to play this range if you want, just between here. Oh, got to get back to the old draw tool. There you go. You can try to play this range if you want. Understand that that's aggressive and that's risky. Okay. So it's totally up to you on how you want to do it. But the two things I'm looking for is a break of this area at 61.8. All right. That's when I'm saying, okay, we might be having a reversal and it might be opportunity for some upside. Or we break this area at 58, 58.5. All right. And then you're looking again for that OC retest. But you want to have confluence with your indicators down here. Okay. So come back down to the oscillator, make sure they're showing you the same thing, and it could be a short opportunity. But then this is the critical area that I'm talking about, 56K. If it comes down here, I'm getting really excited. Okay. I'm just letting you know right now, 56K, this is an area that I'm getting excited because it has been support historically for quite some time. Okay. Even off the highs. Remember, off of both highs consecutively, this channel at the support level was support. Okay, now it's changing, right? Because it's going up and right. So I think it was about 30K back in the day. Now it's 56K, right? Because the channel goes up and right. So keep an eye on that. That I'm telling you right now, like, in terms of a long-term hold, a hodl bag, I will add to my position at 56K. That's just going to happen. Okay. And then where do I look is when we zoomed out and we're like, hey, somewhere around 45, 48 in that time frame, I'm going to add again. Okay. So when I'm adding to my hodl bag, I'm not adding to my hodl bag based on, months or weeks or any of that. I'm letting it come back to critical levels of support. That's kind of how I'm playing this game personally. That's just the way I feel more comfortable doing it, because I'm putting a substantial amount of money in each time. So that's what I'm looking at on Bitcoin. Sorry, that was a little long-winded and took some time, but there's the mind of trade.
It's good data. Sometimes perfection takes a little time, right, to set it up and spike it.
Yeah.
So, OC, we're gonna jump over, unless you see anything different on Bitcoin than what we're seeing. I don't want to spend too much more time on this. I want to get some alts in. We got a request for Sol and a request for Clean Spark. I do want to show that level that I told you guys I would show you real fast. So if we got into a pullback now this week, in order to not break this platinum pocket that we've never broken historically, we could get as low right now as about $47,000. Next week, the lowest we could get would be about 48.8. And you can see as we go in, it's like 50,400, 51,600, about 53,000, about 54,000. So as we get closer and closer, it's moving up. Like, this is the chance of it going to those parabolic lows is getting less and less and less. When I was talking about that $43,000 range, that was about a month ago, and that was about right in here when it was coming down. We have pretty much, as time goes on, it's got a rising level that historically we've never broken this. So I think as you guys see this time go on, the longer it takes to go down, the less distance we're going to go down in price. So OC, you got anything different on your Bitcoin chart you're wanting to show, or can we go into alts?
Well, let's go to alts. The only thing that I want to say is, guys, we have an ongoing. Oh, haven't I shared that? Come on, my bad, guys, my bad. Let's go. There we go. I got
Rookie.
it right here. No, so basically, no charts to be needed to be shown. But the thing is, I'm already stopped out on a long. I took 50% out, and I'm waiting for the next possible rejection. We just need to be careful because we are below the zero line. Seems like we are making a below the zero line duck head, goose head. Sorry, and that'll be it. Another thing that I want to say, guys, it is that on the Discord of Chart Prime, we're hosting a strategy contest. And despite I cannot win anything there, I have released my strategy. I just sent you guys the link. Go click it, watch my video, watch the strategy that I use. It is a beginner strategy. I'm going to also be showing another 2 submissions for strategies, and show some love there. Just click the ones that you like and comment on the ones that maybe you need a little bit more explanation. We have already like 10 submissions. So if you're looking for a strategy, there you go, guys. So at this point, yep, we're ready to start jumping into altcoins, I will say.
All right. Well, I'm going to start it off with Clean Spark, and then we'll just go down the list with Tradefly come in next. It looks like we got a request for Soul, so that'll be 2 of them. And then if you want to bring in Injective, that BC Port Corp just requested, we'll get into that. Let's jump into the Clean Spark chart. Let me get it up here, and then we'll move over there and check out some Clean Spark because it is showing some downside today, guys. This long-term line of support that I've talked about here for a long time is $10.42. I know it seems like such a weird, arbitrary number, but that's where it's at, and we're still sitting right above it. I did talk about some things on the oscillator earlier this week. Got a lot of the bubble, a lot of the brush marks still on there, but let's look and see what it's telling us now for price action on Clean Spark. I want to move you up a little bit, stretch it out. There we go. And now let's go over here and take a look. So we did get the True 7 that fired off here, and I'm looking at this on the 4 hour. So this fired off on Wednesday afternoon. That was right near the bottom there, upside movement. But we hit this delta median here. This is a really powerful support and resistance package. If I hide everything else here, let's get rid of that. Let's get rid of that and that. And I guess we'll get rid of that also, and some moving averages. There we go. So this package, guys, support resistance is called the predictive ranges. It's a Chart Prime market dynamics tool. The 50% line is your delta median, and then you've got your upper range and your golden range. That's typically 70% of all price data will occur in here. You guys can see, looking at this chart, going back here from the last time when we broke the previous range, and you can see again, 70% of all the price action was in there. Matter of fact, when this actually printed back here, these lines were already in place. They don't repaint. They don't move. They just do their thing, right? We are right now standing in this range, and our resistance currently is that 50% delta median there of the predictive ranges. If we go to the downside, guys, I'm looking at a downside on this at about $8.98. Upside top on this is about $13.65 to still be inside this range. Something to take note of, though. We do have a dynamic reactor, very powerful moving average here, algorithmic moving average that is coming to the downside there. We could, if we do get up and try to make a run for this, could get a rejection off that. Keep that in mind. You can see it's plays out a lot as a point of resistance and support also. So keep an eye on that coming down into that range. But yeah, those are the levels that I'm looking at there. Looking at what we're seeing on the oscillator Pro Plus, though, we did get this transition line on the ribbon here. That's what happens right before we start to go into green and upside movement. But you can see these can heat all the way up and cool all the way off while we're consolidating. We see this a lot with Bitcoin, where the price that goes sideways gives all this time to cool off before it comes back up. Do not think that just because we got everything down here that triggered, that this is now going to automatically move up. We could be considered continuing in a range here. And again, that range, guys, pretty good size range. $9 on average there on the bottom to about $13.57. That area total is about a 49% move distance. So keep that in mind. But yeah, that's what I'm seeing there. It does look like we did trigger on the bear trend has cooled off there. That's what that little orange is. So a lot of things here saying that we could get some upside movement, but again, this can all come to the upside, and all it really does is just come right back into this range here. So That's what I have on CleanSpark. Let's kick it over to TradeFly so he can get that soul train. Let's go.
Let's do it. Just updating the fixed range volume profile right now, incorporating a little bit more because at one point this wasn't part of it. Now it looks like it is part of it. So just wanted to get something a little bit more accurate. So let's look at Sol on the daily. All right, looking at that, you can see we are in a pretty large range, and we've been there since about March. I'd actually argue February. All right, so we've been in there for quite some time. We are struggling with this area at about 162, and this is a key area. When I'm looking at it, I just go back left on the chart. And I'm like, hey, where do we find support? Right here. Where do we find resistance? Right here, right here. Where do we find support? Where do we have a breakdown? Retest, breakout, come back down, breakdown, retest, retest. So that lets me know 162 is kind of a really important area of price action for Sol. So put that on your charts. Go ahead, draw a horizontal line and make note of it. What I don't like right now, looking at Sol in the daily, is we do have the dynamic reactor has flipped red. We're on the bottom side. We retested it. We have the point of control on the top side. So we have confluence now to the top side. Let me see where the moving averages are as well. All to the top side, even the 200. All right. So that lets me know there is a lot of poo-poo to work through for Sol. All right. So it's going to be tough sledding here. I wouldn't be surprised to see a move down to 128 at some point. So go ahead, go in. You already see mine's already set. I have an alert set at 128. That's going to be an alert for me to probably add to my bags a little bit at about 128 because look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different hits on this same support level, which means that we should get some price action off of that area theoretically. And you see wicks going down to 121. So I have that labeled as well. That was initially the bottom part of this previous range here before all this started. So that lets me know that that could be important. And if you go back left on the charts, you do see it was resistance at points as well. So that's going to be kind of the key levels I'm looking at for Sol. As you can see on the oscillators, power bars getting a little bit stronger here. RSI is working down. Money flow is working down. It's all starting to work to the negative side for Sol. So I would say probably have a little hope maybe if Bitcoin holds and stays in its range and kind of works its way to the top side. There is a slight little area of support here where basically the price action is right now. You could see a little move up to about 141 for a quick like scalp, but I'd be very careful because it looks like the bottom wants to fall out and it does want to retest 128 at some point. And that's where I'd be a little bit more interested in getting into a position on Sol. If it does make its move up, then I would say you're going to look for some resistance or rejection here at 162 would be kind of my high side target, and the near to a little bit medium time frame, I'll say. But you got a ton of resistance to work through, a ton. So just be very, very careful. Understand that you are on the bottom side of resistance, and there's a couple areas for you to look for on Sol.
Awesome. Speaking of ton, let's go take a look at it. We are back down here in this range, guys. I closed out my long when we pumped up. I was looking to get a little bit higher. I took out part of it, and then I took out a little bit more as it started to break down from this little consolidation range here. Right now, ton sitting down here on this lower support band of the predictive ranges. Did get a perfect rejection right there, again, off of one of those algorithmic moving averages. That is the quantum reactor, guys. Got a perfect rejection on that wick there. And now we have printed back in on a downside ribbon. Looks like money flow is still red, and we're starting to get a little curvature on the volume matrix here. So a lot of indicators in here telling us we might see either a consolidation here or a downside movement. I would watch for a downside movement to be down here on this purple line. This purple line would be the breakout of this entire predictive range. It's also back here where we had previous pullback. So if we come down here and wick below it, don't be surprised. Grabbing that liquidity. Somebody's always out there watching for those areas. And we do have, if you look, dump indicator did print here on this for that downside movement. So overall, this could actually get set up for another lower low here. But if you have been looking to get into ton, this might be the opportunity to do it because overall, it's still up there in the top 10 of the cryptos, despite all of the bearish news that came out on it. So I want to talk about gold for a second. because gold set an
I
all-time
love
high.
gold.
I know you do, bro. It's at 25.20. We actually peaked out on yesterday at about 25.28, and it has just been absolutely rallying. But OC sent me this video, and I'm going to play this video for you guys. Let me know if you guys can hear it, if there's any issues. Let me see here. System audio. Let me turn that on. And then I need to make sure that I'm set in here. You guys are probably going to need me to have headphones in for this so that you can hear it. Connect. Perfect. There we go. And then I'm going to put this on the Ecamm Live audio app. Can you talk for me, Tradefly?
Test.
Yep, we're good. All right, let's get over here and let's check this out. This video brought to you by OC Guy, and this is an interesting little video on gold. Might be seeing some price drop on it. Here we go.
Are we about to see the value of gold plummet? Scientists have just discovered naturally occurring bacteria that eats up toxins and poops out 24-karat gold. This research was published in Nature Chemical Biology. The price of gold and the value of gold has been skyrocketing over the past, I don't know how many months, as people are uncertain about the economy and they're investing more in gold, right? Because it's relatively stable. If this is anything like what happened to the natural diamond industry, they're going to act pretty quickly to try and mass produce gold through bacteria. I think that could have a massive impact on the value of gold.
So let's talk about this because that could be pretty crazy. What happens to the price of gold if that is the case and if that happens? And two, do we see a scenario where people look for an alternative to their gold and by default start looking at things like, I don't know, digital gold? I don't know. Tradefly, your thoughts on this, man? I know you love gold. Do you love bacteria poop as much?
Man, that's tough. Are they going to make them like label it like synthetic gold or something like that? Even though it is gold, but it's I don't know, man. Like that's interesting. I just like I start thinking back to like to all the whole gold rush and how many people invested their lives into mining trades ever. But dude, I don't know. That's crazy. It's interesting. I would probably need to learn more about it before I made any kind of like snap judgment on it. But yeah, it can have an impact if they can mass produce gold, through that process. Then yeah, it could have an impact ultimately. But we'll see.
Yeah, Arsan said BS. I don't believe it, and then Buck said, "What the f was that? Poop gold." It was an interesting video, and we see things all the time that obviously if there's a bacteria out there making gold, somebody would have, I would think, keyed in on it a long time ago. But dude, there's so many things going on in the bio world. Something like that could happen very easily to even duplicate gold, right? It's only one electron off from lead, first of all, and secondly, there is behind every rumor there's a shred of truth, right? Maybe that's not a very long sustained bacteria life. Its cellular structure breaks down quickly, can't really produce a lot with it, or it's very expensive to grow that bacteria to do that. But yeah, for all we know, that's how gold got here. Good point, Cryptopoyo. But at the end of the day, one thing that my big point on this, you will never find a bacteria that produces Bitcoin. I'm just going to put that out there. Never find it. We are about at the bottom of the hour right now, guys. Let's talk about what we're seeing this weekend, because Monday the markets are closed. There's no TradFi market. Crypto's open 24/7 though. So we have a 3-day weekend of degens doing what degens do at the world's largest casino, that is crypto. Let's talk about what we see going into this weekend and what we can expect with the weekly candle close, the monthly candle close, and going into Monday when we have nothing open but Bitcoin. Let's talk about that. OC, your thoughts? What are we going to see this weekend on that? Is the monthly chart giving you any indication on Bitcoin? For what we could see there. Do you want to look at that?
Absolutely. Let's take a look at what's happening here. So first of all, I just want to shout out for the alumni. They say that we should start doing more tinfoil hats because aluminum is looking for a bullish bouncing here. So that is also looking bullish. Other than that, on the Bitcoin chart, we need to understand that we're going to be talking about this weekend. So despite the monthly chart, I mean, could be giving us, which I believe it is very important to watch because of the monthly close, could be giving us some insight in here, and we could be having I mean, come on, a bad close, right? A below close, maybe a red close. I don't think it's going to be that much of an importance because I don't expect us to go all the way back down here because we already have had, and let me just show you this, a big body, a big wick below this small body. So we're starting to see how first of all we started growing this wicks at the upside and the downside, then having a doji, and now growing the wick at the bottom. Usually a wick bottom or a big wick bottom interprets as a possible reversal or at least as a bullish movement. So I think this October we might be getting ready to do that. Other than that, I would be looking at the 4-hour time frame for a possible rejection. The dynamic reactor, we're still below here. Remember that my first opinion is going to be assuming that we're going to bounce off the zero line because that's going to be my worst case scenario. And I'll be looking at these two lines here. First 58,100 and second 56,400 and last of it 54,600. I don't think that we're gonna get there this week, but I mean everything goes in the Bitcoin chart. So just be careful. Possible opportunity if you don't have or if you're not there yet with your Bitcoin holdings. And yeah, other than that, remember, try to buy the deep DCA in, and this is not financial advice, but throw it back to you guys.
Awesome. Tradefly, your thoughts. What are we going to see this weekend? What we got 3-day weekend, bro. 3-day weekend. What are we going to see?
So this is one of those times, right? You should have low volume opportunities here. I do remember going camping. I think it was on Labor Day, probably a couple years ago, that we actually saw a pretty big pump, man. I think it was about a 10 to 12% move over the weekend. And I'm sitting there like just checking my phone. I was like, oh, okay. And everyone's like, I don't trust low volume pumps. Well, you know what? I really don't care. That price moved up. I don't care what you say. So, there's definitely the opportunity to see some significant moves when you don't have a lot of volume in the market. So be ready for that. Be ready for a little bit of volatility. Don't think it's always going to be status quo over the weekend. Stay sharp. Look at your support resistance levels, and opportunities are still there if you're not out and about camping, cooking, doing whatever we do on the weekend here. But look, keep a look-see. Keep an eye on the charts. That's what I'll say.
Absolutely. And that's the whole point, because I figured you guys were in line with my thoughts that we would be likely low volume, but we could see a rally on Sunday evening at the market close for the weekly and that monthly closing out here tomorrow. So there is a possibility. Hence the thumbnail today. Don't get trapped, guys. Overall, I think we still have sideways range to go. I think that September may not be a huge, horrible dumping month, but I don't think that it's going to be a big pump month. I think we get that in October, and I just want you guys, as FT White consistently says, we don't predict, we prepare, and just be prepared for that. Shout out to BC Port Corp. He also said neutral weekend. He's looking at alts. So there you go. BC Port Corp, by the way, and Lunar Beaches Crypto. Going to be moving over to the Piper Academy show, I believe here next week. I'm going to be talking to him this weekend. So the Good Morning Crypto Show will be going live here on Piper Academy, adding more content for you guys. And then next week, FD White and I will be doing a Tuesday and Thursday, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time trade session. We're going to be bringing on Trade Intuition to join us on some of those, and we're going to be trading with you guys live. OC guys are going to be coming on with us on some of those also. We're going to be doing live trading, getting into a lot more trade setups in the Discord. We got a lot of things that we're building to make the Academy even better. So, guys, be watching out for it. But that's what we got today. But I promised everybody a party, so I think we need to have a party here. Let's get it, guys. This is heading into the Friday. You got anything for the people, Tradefly, before we throw this party off? Because it's Friday, and we need to party.
Bro, y'all know Tradefly is not the one to delay a party. Let's get it started.
All right, guys, there's your party outro here in the Piper Academy. We are going to be back here on Monday morning, 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, looking at all this stuff. And remember, be careful this weekend. You might have those little volatility wicks. I do think that it might be pretty much neutral with some small pumps, but you never know when you have low volume how market makers are going to move this thing. You guys are why we do what we do, and we will be watching. I will let you guys know in the Discord. I will let you know on X, so make sure you're following us at all of those places so that you can get notified when we see things, you hear things, and that should be the way it is, guys. Until next time, guys, hit that like button, smash that thing, share it out, obliterate this, push it out to the community so we can grow this channel. We broke 6,000. We're almost up. We're moving up to 6,100. 10,000's right around the corner, guys, and it's all because of you, the alumni. We appreciate and love you all. We'll be back here next Monday. Until then, guys, trade safe, and as always, use the stop loss. We'll catch you guys later. Peace.
I don't know what they keep telling me. Ain't no school like Piper Academy. We'll keep that front line covered, even when we're dead and gone. We'll find a way to keep going, cause we gon' keep on rolling after wheels fall low. I know you hungry for knowledge, that's profit appetite. Classes in session, this for the Army Piper acolytes. Trade flag at the soul, train ready. What a line from OCI, from a Mexican spaghetti, yo. Crunch crypto with a deep dive to reject dime. And if you like the visual powered by Car Prime, then you were part of that alumni, that's all spine. But if you have step, fall back to offline. We'll keep that front line covered, even when we're dead and gone. We'll find a way to keep going, cause we gon' keep on rolling after wheels fall low. Sound off to get with them, the ZTS rhythm. Rip it, Alexandra.
Yeah, that's my alumni, you know what I mean?
That was awesome, dude!